morning, Gloria. Thanks for checking in. We're live outside this morning. I just set up early so people could make their way in and to make sure everything was going to work, but it's looking like we're going to be okay. Good morning, Serena. Thanks for joining in. We're outside this morning on my parents' front step, so I'm hoping car noise and everything won't be too bad, but we'll see as things continue. It's a super large morning. The sun is shining already. It's very nice. My parents' place is right at the bottom of a hollow, so there's a hill over here, and there's a hill over here, and the cars sort of come and pass, so I'm sure you're hearing some car background noise, but this morning we're gonna make do. Outside is the place to be. Good morning, Martha. Thanks for joining. Hoping that the audio is okay-ish. The phone is a little bit further away than usual. And again, we've got some background noise outside, but unless I hear different from you, I'm gonna assume that audio is okay. Another minute or two to see if anybody else is gonna join in. You don't need anything special this morning, just yourselves and your mat, so keeping it easy. Good morning, my mom. Alright, I'd say final minute or so if you need to get a last minute pee in or adjust your mat or any final things, maybe battle with your dogs or cats to make some space on the mat, then do that now and then we'll get underway shortly. Alright, so good morning and thanks for coming in for Sunday morning stretching. It is a beautiful morning outside and I am on my parents' front deck this morning, which is also a lovely spot to be. They are getting ready for golf this morning, so I volunteered to go out on the front step so I'm not underfoot. And it's a gorgeous day, so happy to be outside. As mentioned, the audio might be a little bit different, but I'm not seeing any feedback from anybody, so I'm hoping that things are going to be okay. Good morning, Darlene. Thanks for joining in. All right, so this morning I wanted to keep things low and slow with lots of breathing and stretching, maybe a little bit of focus on our core, and our core is our stabilizing muscles in the front, but also our stabilizing muscles in the back. So we're gonna warm those up just a little bit, but otherwise lots of low, long holds just like usual to sink in and relax them. And my note that I put down to talk about this morning was a quote that I've seen in a couple different places, and I use it a fair amount myself, and it's "be brave enough to suck at something new." I'll repeat that again. The quote that I want you to think about this morning is "be brave enough to suck at something new." But why, or why is that important to me? So I like that one because there's a discomfort I find whenever you try something new. And getting over that discomfort and pushing through it and trying the thing anyway opens up a world of different possibilities. So sometimes people expect to be really good at something right away. I'm definitely one of those people sometimes. But turning back into a student and learning something new and discovering and sort of feeling that discomfort is really important, I find. And also when you try something new, you're likely surrounding yourself with a different group of people who have different perspectives. So not only are you growing by discovering a new skill, you're also growing by developing a potential new set of friends or people, or learning about their values and beliefs, or even if you hang out with them, different foods that they try. It's all growth. So I like this quote. I use it when I teach yoga with brand new students. I try to make it sound like a compliment, but again, good job being brave enough to suck at something new. That's really important. And then I also recently just started taking a pottery class in Truro at Thrown Together Pottery, and that quote is on the wall in her studio. So I thought that was pretty neat too. Because pottery for me, I've always wanted to experience it, but it's terrifying because I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm nervous about ruining the piece, but that is slowly fading away as I explore and enjoy. So be brave enough to suck at something new. If you haven't done something new or experienced something new or tried something new, I strongly encourage you to do so. There was a period of time that I would make a goal of something to do every month that was experiencing something new. And when I first discovered yoga, that was one of my things of trying something new. So this is where it has led me. So try something new sometime if you haven't in a while. Maybe put some thought to that. We're gonna get started with our warm-up just like we typically do. So coming into a comfortable seated position, whatever that looks like for you, and remembering that everything I say is always just a suggestion, so feel free to modify, do something else, or do something that's within your range. So coming into that comfortable seated position, it could be in a chair, legs could be stretched out long, sometimes a pillow or a prop under your bum will lift it up so your hips can open up. We're gonna roll those shoulders up, back, and down, and build a little space between our ears and our shoulders. Good morning, Susan. Thanks for joining in. It's great to see you. Remembering to tuck that belly button in towards the spine, sink in a little bit heavier onto your mat. Your hands could rest on your knees. They could go on either side of your mat, or you could rest one down and put the other one on top. Good morning, Cheryl. Great to see you this morning. Sometimes I like pointer finger and thumb pressing together, tucking that pointer finger underneath the thumb and resting on my knees. This is called Chin Mudra. It just sort of cues your brain. You're ready to sort of zone in. But again, whatever comfortable is for you so that you're not thinking about any discomforts. And then we're just going to take a moment to arrive on our mat. So arriving on your mat means any thoughts that come wandering in, recognizing what they are, but then just allowing them to pass. And again, if you're just joining us, I'm on my parents' deck this morning, enjoying the great outdoors, letting them get ready for golf this morning without being under their feet. So we've got a little car noise and a little background noise, so I do apologize, but I'm okay with working with it. Hope you are too. Allowing yourself to sink in heavier to the mat wherever you make contact. Rolling those shoulders up, back, and down, perhaps gently tucking the chin towards the chest to look after the neck, maybe growing a little bit taller through the crown of the head. And then just begin noticing your breath, noticing your inhales and your exhales. Perhaps softening your shoulders down with your exhales. And just appreciating that breath as it comes in and out. It's a very natural movement that we don't think about very often. But I want you to really draw your attention, really notice that inhale and the exhale, trying to match the exhale to the length of the inhale. And then a mindful meditation technique that we've done before we're going to try is just counting our inhales and our exhales. And I want us to try and get to 10. So as you inhale, think 1 in your mind. As you exhale, think 2. Your next inhale would be 3. And try just to get to 10 and see if you can stay focused that whole time or what thoughts come wandering in. So whenever you're ready, starting at 1 with your inhale. Excellent job. If that mind wandered, forgiving yourself, just looking at it as an opportunity to bring your focus back, allowing your mind to wander and see where it goes for a little bit. And then bringing your focus back to the breath, completing a body scan, breathing deeply, continuously. Starting at the top of your head, I want you to scan all the way down to the tips of your toes. And scanning just means checking in with your body to see how you're feeling this morning. So I'll get you started with head down through shoulders and then leave you to continue on your own. So starting just thinking, noticing how your head, your face is feeling this morning, noticing those small sensations. Maybe your hair is touching some other part of your body, noticing what that feels like. Noticing your lips, your mouth. Maybe you can feel that saliva in your mouth or dry lips or anything, just noticing. Coming around to the back of the head, tracing down the neck. And then I'm going to leave you to continue down your shoulders, into your arms, hands, whatever sort of journey makes sense. You're just checking in, seeing how you're feeling, being mindful, noticing how things feel, what's touching your body, where. And if you feel any areas of tightness, just drawing awareness to that area, maybe imagining that tension releasing with your exhales, a few minutes to body scan. Last few moments to check in with yourself, so scanning any areas that you haven't got to yet. And finishing up with a couple of deep belly breaths. So I want you to inhale all the way in so the breath comes into the bottom of your belly. Feeling that belly expand. Sometimes I like to put my hands on my belly to actually feel that expansion. And then you can exhale back out through your nose, or sometimes I really like to sigh out through an open mouth. I just find it helps release any tension much more deeply. So inhaling through the nose nice and deep. Filling up that belly and maybe sighing it out. Twice more at your own pace. Beautiful job. Starting with our warm-up, just bringing some motion gently to our body, dropping one ear towards one shoulder, opening up through the side of our neck. Coming back up to the center, we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side and just keep repeating that motion back and forth. So we started with some centering, we started with some mindful meditation, and meditation, I find, is just about controlling those fluctuations of the mind. And pace my talking around the cars going by. I don't know if that gives background noise, if we're doing okay, but so mindfulness and meditation is noticing what's happening around you and really focusing in and quieting the mind, because the mind can say a lot in our head, and if we exercise the ability to control it and quiet it, hopefully we can take that off the mat as well and more quickly recognize if our brain sort of starts to spiral and be able to quiet it down. Next time our head comes back up to the center, just gently going to tuck our chin down towards our chest, which stretches out the back of the neck, and then look back up to the center. Repeating that a few times. If we want to try matching with our breath, we're going to inhale when we lift our head up and exhale when we tuck it back down. Now that we've done that a couple of times, if it feels okay for your body, your head and gaze could expand all the way up, directly overhead, and then come back down. Let's do twice more. Awesome. Final moment, anything that your neck needs. It might sort of be swinging it from side to side. Maybe you want a couple of full circles, switching directions if you haven't already. And then coming down to our shoulders, just raising those shoulders up, back, and down a couple times. So just some slow, mindful circles. I always like to focus on the shoulders because in society we spend lots of times with our shoulders rolled forward, and often texting or on a computer or just crunching. So counter pose would be opening back and tucking chin and sort of really focusing on that posture. So a couple more shoulder rolls. Let's do the other direction just to keep things balanced. Great job. And then coming down to our arms a little bit further, starting with our right arm, we're going to lift it up and overhead and then bring it back down. Thinking about inhaling as you raise up and exhale as you float it back down. Matching our movement with our breath whenever possible. Just helps us stay mindful. Sort of deepens that stretch a little bit. Your gaze can be down in front of you. It could be off to the side. Or your gaze could be following the hand that's doing the moving. Thinking as we reach up about grounding down through that hip that's on the same side. And again, if you're cross-legged and it's uncomfortable, all of this stuff can be done with legs stretched out long too. Or you could take your legs a little bit wider and bring them in, which just gives you a little bit more ability to move with your foundation, I find. Let's do 2 more times. Finishing up that last one, maybe staying up there for a moment, really reaching across your body, grounding down through that hip. Maybe your pinky is going to open up to the ceiling or to the sky. Maybe gaze is going to follow too. One more big breath in, really reaching, grounding, and on your exhale, bringing it back down. Moving to do the same. Recognizing that one side might feel different than the other, it's okay. If range of motion doesn't allow for up and overhead, you can as feels okay for you, or you can reach across your body instead. If your mind is wandering, bringing it back, setting aside whatever it's wandering to, and coming back to inhaling as you reach up, and exhale as you bring it back down. Let's do 3 more times. As you finish up that third, same thing if you want it, really reaching across your body, grounding down through your hip, and maybe opening that pinky up towards the ceiling, the sky, maybe gaze follows too. Big breath in, and exhale, bring it back down. Nice job. Moving into some seated cat-cow. If legs are out in front, hands can come to knees, and we're gently pushing our belly forward, looking up towards the ceiling or sky, and then pushing back, tucking our chin and rounding. Alternating between the two with that seated cat-cow, swooping forward, rounding back. And again, legs could be stretched out long to do that, or they could be crossed. This movement's opening up our lower back. It's opening up through our shoulders. And if we think about matching with our breath, we're going to inhale as we come forward and exhale as we press back and round. Last couple times. And then coming back into that neutral position. Nice job. So I like to center, do a little bit of a warm-up. Then we're going to get into our hips and our legs a little bit with some gentle, slow holds. So if we're cross-legged, we're headed into fire log. Fire log, I'm going to take one leg. I'm going to cross it on top of the other. I'm going to scooch my bottom leg out. So basically my foot's extended over top of my knee a little bit. I'm flexing my toes back towards my knee, and I'm gently using my muscles to press this knee down. This gives me an intense stretch from my hip to my knee. If this feels like too much, you also have the option of stretching your leg out a little bit and sliding this leg down until you find a spot that feels okay. No matter where you are, you can play around with leaning back to ease it off or leaning forward to intensify a little bit. So finding a variation, a spot that feels okay for you, and then breathing into this stretch. So it should never feel like it's pinching. It should feel like a gentle stretch that if you breathe into it, it will release. So I'm going to be quiet so we can do that now. Breathe into any areas of tightness that you're feeling and imagining them melting away. One more big breath in and exhale, stretching that left leg out full and long. It was the right one that was just across. We're now going to tuck that right knee in towards our chest as far as feels okay for you. We can just hold with our hands, sitting up to press our chest against that knee, maybe rotating the ankle that's out long, and then just finding some stillness, squeezing that in against our belly, our chest for a moment. Beautiful job. It's my right leg that's in. I'm going to wrap my left arm around. Right hand's going to go in behind for a little bit of height, and I'm going to turn and look over my right shoulder. So this is a spinal twist, really good for digestion, sort of compressing our lower belly. We're twisting as far as we can, really opening up through that shoulder. One more big breath in. Head comes around first, rest of the body follows. Turning it into half butterfly, gonna tuck the sole of our foot against that extended leg. Turn our torso towards the extended leg. Big inhale up overhead, and with our exhale, we're hinging over top of that leg and softening down. Remembering if you have lower back issues, you want to stay nice and straight from our hips through our shoulders, kind of like it's a plane that's coming down, like a flat surface. If back feels okay, feel free to soften and round down over top of that leg. Not reaching for anything specific, just wherever your hands fall, and then softening down. If neck feels okay, chin can drop down. If you can comfortably reach the insole of the foot, you could do that if you wanted, and hand could come to hip to open up, or you could reach up and overhead to intensify that stretch as well. So finding a spot that feels okay, coming back to your breath. next inhale, torso comes up. It's our right leg that's tucked in. Left hand's gonna go in behind for support. Right leg's gonna tuck against that right knee, so right hand against right knee. And then we're gonna sweep. No, I wanna go the other way. Sorry, fibbing to you. Readjust on my mat a little bit. Right leg is tucked. Left hand is gonna rest on the extended left leg. Right hand's gonna come in behind for support. And then we're gonna sweep that arm in behind us and bring it back down. So again, it's my left leg, left arm, and then just sweeping across my body. Repeating that movement. And then you have some options. You can just sweep that arm and it stays with the arm and stretches out through your side body. As you reach back, you can pop that left bum cheek off the mat a little bit and extend a little bit further. Or you can come up onto your knee and drive your hips up. So whichever variation of that you prefer. And then if we think about matching our breath with our movement, we're inhaling as we come back and exhale as we bring it back down. Let's do 3 more times. Once you finish up that third, we're going to turn towards the leg that's bent and gently bow down over top of that extended leg. Bring yourself back up. We're going to turn and twist the opposite direction. Gently bow down again. Bring your body back up. And then get ready to do the same thing on the other side. So starting back with that fire log, think, which leg did I start with? For me, it was my right that I just worked with a whole bunch. So now I'm gonna go to the left and guide it on top of my other leg. Scooch my bottom leg out, flex those toes back towards my knee. Play around with sitting up nice and tall, maybe hinging forward if I'm looking for more, maybe leaning back if it feels too tight. If this isn't accessible, stretching my right leg out long and just sliding that left foot down my body until I find a spot that feels okay, and then I can play around with hinging as well. Once you find a spot that's feeling good and feeling right for your body, come back to your breath. Last couple breaths, checking in with your shoulders, making sure that they're softened down, and maybe checking in with your jaw to wiggle it side to side, maybe slightly opening your mouth just to make sure you're not holding tension there. Always scanning to check in to find that effort and ease. If it doesn't need to work or hold tension, don't make it. One more big breath in. And on your exhale, maybe using your hands to guide that foot across, extending our right leg long, tucking that left foot in against our thigh as close as we can, perhaps wrapping our hands around our shin and just squeezing that leg in against our body. Our leg that's extended, we could get some ankle rotations in, both directions. And then finding some stillness, squeezing that foot in as close as possible, sitting up nice and tall. Couple of breaths here. Twist, I'm going to use my right arm to wrap around that left knee. My left arm's going to go in behind for some support. I'm going to sit up nice and tall, which extends my spine, building some space between vertebrae. Then I turn to look over my left shoulder. head comes around first, rest of the body follows. That knee drops, turning into half butterfly, making those adjustments. Sometimes I like to walk my bum back a little bit as I get ready to fold. I'm gonna sit up nice and tall. If hips are super tight, a little micro bend in that knee will help. Inhaling, arms up overhead, stretching that spine out a little bit further, and then exhaling to fold forward. Remembering you can soften that back, you can keep it straight. You could reach for your instep, open up with a hand on a hip, or up overhead. Finding your variation and then softening down into your breath. Next inhale, torso comes back up. My right leg extended, right hand sets on top, other hand goes in behind, and then gently sweep our hand towards our bended knee and across our body. Your choice for how far you want to take it, bum coming up, hips coming up, whatever your body's craving. Just thinking inhale as you sweep back, and exhale as you bring it back down in front. Three more times. Once you finish up that third, getting ready for your twist, sitting up nice and tall, I'm going to turn and open to the right first, getting that lower back twist. I'm going to bow down as far as feels okay. Sitting back up, I'm going to twist the other direction and then bow down on that side too. Bringing myself back up. I'm going to bring my legs together and out front now. My heels are on the ground, my toes are slightly lifted up. I'm getting ready for boat pose. So for boat pose, I'm going to lean back until my core engages. How far depends on how far you're comfortable with. I keep pressing my chest forward as I lean back. My back is very straight. I'm looking forward and I'm engaging that core. Then I'm going to hold right pose option 1. You have the option of adding arms in to either side, which intensifies sort of the weight resistance, which makes your core and your stabilizers work even more. So you can play around with this, and then you can play around with lifting one foot up, setting it back down, lifting the other, setting it back down. You could play around with lifting both knees up and holding legs, or arms go to either side, legs stay out, or you can extend them out long and up and play around with that option. So I'm going to leave you to play with those for a few moments, and I'm going to reset and try again with those variations. So again, you're working on stabilizing muscles in your core. So find a spot that feels okay, play around with those different options, have some fun. It's okay to giggle and laugh and enjoy. Enjoy working your core. Couple more breaths. Good job. Setting it back down, sort of sitting yourself back up. A moment for whatever your body needs. And then getting ready for a little bit more core work. Feet are in that same starting position. We're going to lean back again. car passing. I'm just gonna wait a breath here. Hands are gonna come to Anjali Mudra in front. Gonna lean back and engage that core. Gonna turn to the right with my Anjali Mudra. Right hand is gonna come down, touch the ground. Come back up to Anjali. Move to the center. Slowly twist to the left. Left hand comes down to touch, comes back up to center, and alternating each side. Slow, controlled movements. The more further up you sit, the more relaxed it is on your core. The further back you lean, the more your core has to work. Be sure that chest stays forward, don't collapse and round. Make sure you're still breathing, don't hold your breath. If you hold your breath, your body panics. Keep breathing nice and deep. One more time to either side. Sitting back up to release, good job. Again, a moment for your body, whatever it needs. And then meeting me in tabletop. Let's start with just a little bit of cat-cow up here in tabletop, making sure hands are beneath shoulders, knees are beneath hips, gaze goes down between your thumbs. Gonna drop your belly down, tailbone goes up towards the ceiling or sky, head and heart open up to the front, and then alternate by pushing through hands and knees, tucking our chin and rounding our back. Alternating between those two. Got the movement down and want to try matching with your breath, you're going to try inhaling as your belly drops and you look forward, heart and chest open. And then exhale as you push and round. Try to let your breath lead the movement, nice and slow. Back into that neutral tabletop, Rambo Bear if you want it, hips going to the left or to the right, sweeping back towards your bum and coming up on the other side, kind of like you're drawing circles with your belly button. Hands can stay flat just like mine are, or you could pop up onto fists if you wanted to release some of that pressure on your wrists. Switching directions if you haven't already. That tabletop pose. Moving into balancing table, I'm going to take my right hand, arm extended out long. I'm going to pivot on my mat here so I don't end up in a shrub. Right leg goes out long, left leg goes out long and behind. You're looking down on the mat and you're reaching forward with your hand, pushing back with your foot, balancing that tabletop position. Whatever leg is back, that hip is going to want to open up. Try and keep it level. Keep breathing. You can hang out right here, or perhaps on your exhale, you're going to draw your elbow in towards your knee and then extend it out long again with your inhale. Inhale long, exhale, close it up. Inhale long, exhale, close it up. Good. Hand and knee come back down to the mat. A moment to release maybe if you need it. Happy penguin. And then coming back down to do the same thing but on the opposite side. So whichever side you weren't just working, extending the other side out. So left for me, left arm, right leg, extending them out long. Stabilizer muscles in my belly are engaged. My foot is flat. Breathing nice and deep, not holding my breath. And then hanging out right here, or perhaps I'm going to inhale here and exhale as my knee comes to my elbow. Inhale out long. Exhale as we close it down. Keep it up. Last time. Good. Bring it back down to the mat. Sinking back into child's pose. My big toes are coming together. Knees can stay in tight. I prefer wide to make space for my body. Sinking my bum back towards my heels. Walking my hands out long in front. my hairline is going to come down to the mat. Forearms rest into the mat. If I can't comfortably reach the mat, I could stack one fist and a flat hand, or two fists and then my forehead if I prefer. Child's pose is supposed to be really relaxing and restorative, so if it's not feeling comfortable, keep making those adjustments until it feels better for your body. Ready for some child's pose variations. I'm going to bring my hips and my body back up, but my arms and sort of hips and legs are staying in the same spot. I'm going to come onto the sides of my forearms. My hands can rest out front or they can interlace. I'm going to close in my left leg a little bit because I'm going to extend my right leg out long behind myself. Scooch up a little more so you can see. So I'm here sort of on hands and knees. I'm going to take my right leg back, come onto tiptoe, and gently press my heel down. So a calf stretch is what we're doing. So to look after my head, if it's down like this, it might get a little bit heavy and achy. So I want to bring my head up a little bit more level instead. We can hold that stretch in our calf the whole time, or we could gently move our weight forward and then press back. If you can't see my foot or what's happening is I'm coming up onto tiptoes like this, and then gently pressing back. I feel like keeping things extra low and grounded this morning. If your back or neck doesn't allow, you can also come up onto hands to do this instead. One more big breath in. Now we're going to come up a little bit taller. Our right leg that's in behind, we're going to take it out to the side. So I'm going to pivot so you can see. So I'm taking my foot out to the side, coming up onto the side of my foot, and now I'm sinking down to stretch the inside here. So same thing, you could stay on your hands like so and get into that stretch. Hands, or you could go down to forearms. My legs stretch out to the side. Then come back to your breath. The more you sink your hips back, the more you'll get into that hip for your stretch. Scan for that effort and ease. Are you holding tension anywhere you don't need to? If you are, send some breath into those areas. Coming back up, getting ready to transition that leg again. This time we're going to swing that leg forward on the mat. Hands can come to the inside or on either side, and all that I'm doing is sinking my bum back, pressing my toes back towards my face or my knee, and you should feel a stretch that runs along the back of your leg. So again, I'm feeling like keeping things low this morning. You definitely can come up and use anything for balance that you want, and then ease back. Swinging that foot back and behind, coming down into tabletop again, getting ready to thread the needle. So we're going to take our right arm out to the side, thread it underneath us, and come down to rest on that shoulder. And adjust so you can see. So again, right arm threads under, knee comes down, not knee, shoulder. Shoulder comes down to the mat. Hips are high on this one. My supporting hand can go across my lower back. It can stretch out long overhead, or it could just rest by my face. And then come back to your breath. supporting hand, pushing yourself back up into tabletop. A moment for yourself before we do the other side, so whatever your body needs to reset. And then coming back down into tabletop. Then getting ready for child's pose, whatever it looks like for you, and sinking back into child's pose just for a breath. And getting ready to stretch your calf out. Again, for me, I want to keep it low, so I'm going to bring my forearms in a little bit closer. Hands are going to meet in front. Hips are coming up. And then I'm going to take my left leg, the leg I haven't worked with yet, stretch it out long behind me and press my heel down. So this is sort of keeping it low. You definitely can come on up into your hands if you want a little bit more height. Try to keep your hips level and flat. Don't let that left roll open. And then find some stillness with the stretch, or if you're craving movement, you can come forward and then ease back. And again, I'm just on my tiptoes. I know you can't see. I'm on my tiptoes and then pressing back. One more big breath in, full exhale, and then transitioning that leg that's in behind out towards the side. Big toe down to heel is on the edge, and then I'm just stretching, thinking about pushing my pelvis down towards the mat. And again, you can stay up on forearms, or if you want more height, you can stay up on your palms. Body scan for tension, release any tension you're holding in your jaw and your shoulders. One more big breath in. And on your exhale, transitioning that leg forward. Again, we can stay up nice and tall. You can come down. Looking for that stretch in the back of the leg. So with my toes away, I don't feel it, but as soon as I flex those toes back towards my nose, I feel that stretch. Make sure you're still breathing, which cues your body you're okay and to relax. One more big breath in. And on your exhale, swinging it back. Getting ready for threading the needle on the other side. So we did the right already, so now we're going to take our left arm, extend it out to the side. We're going to thread that hand between our hand and our knee with our palm up. We're going to try and bring our shoulder and ear down towards the mat on the left side. If we can't comfortably do so, we can hold ourselves up a little bit higher, relax on the mat, and push down as far as feels comfortable. And then come back to your breath. Supporting hand push down into the mat, unthread, and then a moment for yourself, releasing those wrists, whatever your body might need. And then getting ready for a plank. So a plank, I still want to make sure my hands are beneath my shoulders, but I want to give myself enough space on the mat so that I can come up onto my tiptoes with both legs, potentially. Let's start with our modified one. Our modified one, I'm going from tabletop with nice wide hands beneath my shoulders. I'm going to walk my knees back a little bit. And then when I'm ready to go into the plank, I'm just transitioning my weight forward until I feel like I'm in a straight line from shoulders down to my knees. I'm going to look down at the mat to look after myself. And I don't want my belly to come down. I want to engage my core and keep it active. So that's a plank. If you want to do the full plank, we're coming up onto tiptoes, pressing our heels down towards the mat, and then lowering our bum until we feel like we're in line from shoulders down to heels. Looking down at our thumbs, my core is working. So whichever variation you want, one big breath in, and on your exhale, releasing or relaxing. So if you're doing the full plank, releasing, relaxing might be pushing back into downward facing dog and holding here. If you're doing the low plank, this is when you're actively doing it, and to relax, you're just pushing back into tabletop or some variation of child's pose. So we're gonna do 3 of those. That counted as 1, fear not. So this uses our stabilizing muscles, our core. So whenever you're ready, going in for another one. Relaxing again. Trying to make sure you're still breathing when you're holding your plank. There's a habit to hold your breath, but not helpful for your body. Last one. Beautiful job. Gonna make our way down to our bellies. And maybe just a couple breaths to sort of reset and make sure we get some nice deep breaths in before we continue. So inhaling through your nose, maybe sighing it out a couple times. Nice. So I always like coming back to those nice deep breaths after we do something that has sort of built some tension, because I find if I hold my breath when I'm doing something very physical, my body starts to panic and it wants to sort of preserve energy or oxygen rather than give me energy and oxygen. So if you can breathe through things, much more helpful. Coming down into our belly, our hands are going to go to either side of our body, kind of lining up our thumbs underneath our armpits. Palms are flat, fingers are spread out, and then we're going to tighten in our elbows to either side of our body. Getting ready for some cobra pulses. I'm going to look forward on the mat. My legs that you can't see are tighter together. Tops of my feet are flat on my mat. And then with an inhale, I'm going to raise my chest up, pinning my arms back to either side. And with my exhale, I'm softening back down a little bit. And just repeating that motion. With an inhale, I'm raising up. And with my exhale, I'm softening down. Your own pace with your own breath a few more times. Last couple times, if you want to extend up even further, you can. So keeping those elbows tight to either side, using our hands, we can press our torso up even further, as high as your lower back allows, looking forward, and then continue to exhale back down. 2 more wherever you're at. Excellent job. Softening down, maybe your head goes to one side. Relaxing your arms down to either side for a couple breaths. Just to keep things balanced, turning your head the opposite direction for a couple breaths. Excellent job. So remembering that our core is not just the front, not just our belly, our abs, our core is also around our sides and our lower back. So what we just did with the Cobra Pulses was work that lower back and also stretch through our belly. We're going to continue. Just a big truck passing. Didn't want to yell over top of it. We're going to continue. You have a couple different options. So this time we're going to use our core, but we're not going to use our hands in Cobra to help us. We're just going to use our core and our torso to peel ourselves up and off. Our hands can go to either side of our legs, and as we inhale, our hands drive back to either side, and our shoulders peel up and back, and then we come back down. Or if you can comfortably reach and interlace your hands and sort of press your palms away. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I've interlaced my hands, palms are up, and then when I inhale up, I'm gonna press those hands back and away and back down. So a couple different options. Choose one that works, give it a try for 3 sort of pull up and holds. So with your inhale, you pull up and hold. With your exhale, you come back down. Twice more, whatever variation. Excellent job. When you finish those remaining 2, we're going to roll onto our backs. We're going to squeeze both knees in towards our chest. Nice pose to stretch out that lower back, maybe rocking from side to side. Maybe some small circles with our knees, one direction then the other. And then extending the soles of our feet up towards the sky and the ceiling. Bending the knees so the weight is over top of our body. We can hang out right here and fake legs up the wall. Or you can keep bending those knees, taking them wide to either side of your body for happy baby. If you can comfortably use middle finger and pointer finger to wrap around those big toes, you could do that and hold a happy baby. Bringing your feet back down to the mat, soles of the feet come together, knees go out wide to either side for reclined goddess or reclined bound angle if you'd rather. Hands can rest on belly or one on belly, one on heart. Maybe lifting our shoulders up, moving them down towards our bum a little bit further. A couple breaths here just to slow down our heart rate, nearing the end of our practice. If that mind is wandering, bringing it back. Maybe completing a quick body scan to see how you're feeling now as you near the end of your practice compared to when you started. Are you still holding tension in those areas? Does your body still feel the same? So check in with yourself. Using those hands to guide those knees up and closed, moving our hips to the right hand side of the mat. My knees are still bent. I'm going to allow my knees to drop to the left, looking for that gentle spinal twist in my lower back. Shoulders hopefully still making good contact with the mat. Arms can go out wide if you want. Gaze can go the same direction as your bent knees or the opposite direction. Hand could rest on top of your leg. You could guide that leg across a little bit further. If it feels too tight, slide your feet down the mat. Wanting more, slide your knees up. Relax and breathe into that lower back stretch. Back up to the center, adjusting my hips to the opposite side of the mat, letting my knees drop the opposite side as well. Making those little adjustments until it feels right in your body again, and then coming back to your nice deep breaths. guiding those knees back up to the center one last time, getting ready for Shavasana, perhaps squeezing those knees in towards your chest one last time. Big breath in. And with your exhale, stretching them out long, lowering them down into Shavasana. If there's any last poses you'd like to squeeze in, now's a great time to do so. Otherwise, settling in for Shavasana, corpse pose, all about soaking in the good of your practice and letting your body realign. Slowly start bringing some awareness back to your body. Small hand or foot movements, maybe a nice big stretch overhead. Checking in to see how you're feeling now compared to when you started your practice, and recognizing that you took time to get on the mat, which can often be one of the hardest parts of practicing yoga. Perhaps transitioning to a side if you're choosing to rest there for a moment. Thinking back to our sort of theme of being brave enough to suck at something new, and maybe thinking about something that you could try to do that would be something new to experience that you might be nervous about. Thinking about the value of new people, new situations, being put into a student or a learner position again, how humbling that can be, but also how informative and enjoyable. Using a supportive hand to press down to guide yourself up to a seated position. Rolling those shoulders up, back, and down one last time. Hands meeting in Anjali Mudra in front. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today. I hope our audio was okay, and the crows and the cars and the activity wasn't too distracting, but I feel like I'm doing pretty well embracing surroundings here. If it feels okay, echoing namaste. So again, thank you for joining me on the mat this morning. I always welcome questions, comments, concerns, and feedback. And also know that I have a Bass River restorative series, just a 3-class one coming up. We start on Wednesday, we have class again on Friday, and then the following Wednesday, and that's it. So if you think you might be interested in that, send me a message. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoy this beautiful day, and that you enjoyed your practice this morning. Thanks so much.